Hey everyone, Brian from Variable Traders here. It's May 25th, it's Wednesday. We are more than halfway through the trading week, and it's been a crazy week so far, lots of volatility, but the markets seem to be settling into a bit of a range here. We have had some interesting after hours action, NVIDIA and Snowflake reporting after hours. So let's just take a look at where we've been so far this week and try to figure out where we might be going for these last two trading days going into a long weekend. Okay, so let's start out with what we've seen in the week so far. Observations. Today, of course, Wednesday at 2 p.m. we had the release of the Fed minutes. And after a little bit of volatility, a little up and down, the active market responded fairly positively to the minutes, even though the Fed did seem maybe even a little more slightly hawkish than sort of their statements. Aggressiveness with the rate hike. So the expectation, of course, is for half a point rate hike, probably next one and maybe the one after, and of course, reduction in balance sheet to continue. We did see some bottoming action in the markets this point. At this point, if you look at the charts, which we'll look at shortly, you can kind of see we looked like we're kind of putting in at least a bit of a bottoming pattern right now. But I would say, there's volatility, and we can continue to watch for that as the weeks go on here. So let's take a look at some charts. And before we get looking at some of those charts, I always like to throw in a quick ad for my book on Amazon, How to Swing Trade: Rules, Routines, Strategies of a Swing Trader, that I use in my swing trades. So that's it. Let's start getting down and looking at some charts here. And you can see here, 2-year, we are kind of flattening out on the 2-year, haven't made much progress over a week. This isn't an updated number. It did rise up a little bit today, but we're still obviously sort of stuck in a range. Same with the 10-year. We popped up over 3% and now we're pulling back. We did move up a little bit today, but again, we seem to be sort of topping out here at this point. Maybe consolidating before we for another move higher, or maybe this 3% level is about where we're going to end up. But you can see here we got quite overbought on the RSI, and stochastics really overbought as well. So just burning off some of that excess momentum on the Dow, or the transports I should say. Canary in the coal mine for the market. You can see here we are putting in what looks like a bit of a bottoming pattern here. We've got a bottom here. We tried to pop up. We did try to retest this prior low, actually made a higher low, and now engulfing candle today. And again, looks like we're trying to at least hold this level on the transports. We'll skip over the weekly, but you can see here we are trying to make a little bit of a move back there. And I think that sort of going to be the same story for pretty much all of these indexes. You can see here, again, bit of a double bottom here, although this was about, putting in about the same level of low if you look at the end of this wick, and around where we ended on this candle here. So again, sort of coming back up. I suspect that there is going to be a fair amount of resistance when we get back up into this area right here. You can see here that was prior resistance right there. And of course, prior support levels, support becomes resistance, and resistance becomes support. Again, this is an area here with this moving average, and this 32,000 sort of 500 level is probably going to be an area where we're going to maybe stall out at. Again, no real impetus to move higher in the markets, but maybe we're looking to try to put in a bit of a bottom here. Q is a little bit more challenging here, a little bit more choppy price action. Testing lows here. This was a bit of a higher low, and again, we did come up off this low again. So maybe a little bit of positive, a little bit of what do you call it? Silver lining around the cloud there for the Qs as well. Again, we do seem to be putting in a bit of a bottoming pattern here, whether it's consolidation or sort of an ABCD pattern. But you can see here we are pretty extended from where we started this downtrend. So again, SPY, sort of same story. We are tending to move back up here. You can see RSI starting to pick back up. Stochastic starting to turn back up here, MACD crossing. So kind of looks like a bit of momentum to the upside at this point, and we may finish out the week sort of at or near the weekly high. IWM, again, same sort of story, a low, a higher pullback, higher low, and we sort of held that on this on these recent pullbacks. So maybe we're going to break through this moving average here and finish the week near this high. But again, here's some levels of resistance that we're going to encounter on the way back up, and people still concerned about where inflation is going, whether we're going to go into a recession or not, depending on who you listen to on these the talking heads. Some are really advocating that we are going into a recession. Others are advocating more for a soft landing, and maybe not. Maybe we're going to dodge a recession. So again, I think this is giving us some cause for buyers to stay on the sidelines, but maybe this big pullback here, the sellers are kind of exhausted. So again, sort of sets you up for a consolidation pattern. So you can see here, and really the VIX, I like to look at the VIX because it's kind of gives you an indication of how much fear is in the market there. And you can just see there isn't really a whole lot of fear for more downside. So again, kind of bolstering the argument that that maybe we're finding a bit of a temporary bottom here. And the dollar had a massive pullback after this big run up. So maybe we're going to find a bit of some bottoming action here. This looks like about a 50% retracement. I haven't got the Fibonacci levels up yet, but it does from this breakout point up to where we kind of stalled out here. This looks like about 50% of that move, so maybe we're going to find some support there. And Bitcoin seems to be just, if you look at it, it's sort of forming a pennant. Each of these candles is a narrower and narrower sort of range, so we'll see which direction it decides to break when the buyers and sellers duke it out. But you can see on a weekly basis the Bitcoin is still on a downtrend. So quite often those pennants resolve to the overall direction, the larger time frame direction, which is the weeklies still showing some weakness there. So, and let's quickly take a look at some sectors as opposed to looking at specific stocks right now. It's really hard to trade specific stocks, but if you look at sectors and then you can find specific stocks in them that are working. EEM, this is the emerging markets. Again, it's really sold off on dollar strength, but maybe seems to be putting in some bottoming action there. The materials sector. Again, sold off, seems to be putting in a series of higher lows, so possibly a buy here. But this is typically a good late stage sector to be in if you're looking at going into recession. Energy is still a standout. You can see we've had these pullbacks, series of higher lows. And now, of course, this level here that it kept testing, we actually broke out today. So this seems to be wanting to go higher. All the momentum indicators continue to favor this sector higher. Financials, again, took a real beating, especially when the yield curve inverted for a while there. But now we seem to be putting at a bit of a bottom. So if you wanted to pick out some stocks within the financials like JP Morgan, probably a good one to be in. Maybe Citi. Industrials, again, really sold off. Fears of recession. Still sort of a jury out on that one. Of course, the technology sector, the high growth, high PE sector, really just taking a beating here, but also looking like it's trying to put in or at least hold a bottom here for the time being. Consumer staples, it's interesting because usually in a strong market or in a weak market or market where people are concerned about recession, staples are usually the go-to because everybody needs the toilet paper, etc. But you can see here it just took a real beating last week, and a little bit of a comeback here, V reversal back up to the 200-day, but expect some resistance there. Real estate, again, sort of nice little double bottom pattern there, coming back up. And utilities, in an environment like we have, people aren't sure, they tend to go to dividend-paying stocks with reasonable price-to-earnings ratios. So that's where utilities usually um, shine, and that's where we're seeing that right now. Consumer discretionary, of course, when the consumers pinched budget-wise, it's where they cut back, and you can see here that's why the consumer discretionary took a real beating here, and it still looks like it's continuing in a downtrend. And the metals, again, we seem to be finding a bit of a bottom here after this pullback, so it could be a good opportunity there. So that's it, everybody. Let's wrap it up. And so to just wrap things up here for the remainder of the week, let's see what we've got for levels. Right now, the Dow, we're at 32,120 roughly, and we've got support well down below 31.4, which is where we kind of bottomed out before, and we've got some resistance above at 32,400. Qs, sort of the same thing, down at 280 resistance, support 300 is resistance. We're kind of in the middle there right now. SPY, again, kind of in the middle of that range. And the IWM, again, we seem to be kind of stuck in a bit of a range here. What have we got for economic events to watch? We've got jobless claims as usual on Thursday. And we've got a number here coming in on Friday, the core personal consumption expectations price increase, pace index. This is a index that the Fed watches very closely, so we'll see how that comes in. Always a measure of price and inflation, so we'll see if it comes in hotter than expected or not as hot. And of course, earnings on deck. Wednesday after hours, of course, we had Nvidia and Snow. Those down a little bit after hours. And of course, tomorrow we got some interesting stuff going on. We've got a couple of Chinese stocks, Baidu and Baba, Macy's, Dollar General, and Dollar Tree come on deck. And then Costco and Zscaler after the market close on Thursday. Friday, we've got HIB, we've got Big Lots, and another Chinese stock, PDD, Pinocchio, on deck. So some interesting earnings coming up for the remainder of the week, and again, seem to be kind of stuck in a bit of a bottoming pattern here. So that's it, everybody. I hope you had a good week so far, and hopefully at 8 o'clock you'll join us live on YouTube, where we will be doing the pre-market show, and then of course members will be trading the market open with us at 9:30. Hope to see you at all or one of those events. Talk to you later. Bye for now.